Hey, do you want to learn how to get rich in 2024? Well, you better stay tuned. Hey, Frank Thomas here from Wealth Generation Strategies, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart: how to get rich, and in particular in 2024. Honestly and truthfully, what I'm going to be teaching you today is relevant in any year, but it's more relevant because it's right now and we can only work with right now. So let's get into it. So I have what I would call like a four-legged stool that I have that I believe is the pillar, so to speak, to financial richness, like to become rich in life without killing yourself in the process, because that's not what we're trying to do. There's a lot of people who advocate get a part-time job, and even I advocate that. Sometimes getting a part-time job is a good thing to do, but in truth, it's not a long-term thing to do. You only have so many hours, and if you wear yourself out, then you're not really good to yourself or anybody else. So that's a point that you always have to think about. What I'm going to share with you today is something I actually do, and I've been very successful at over and over again. Now, you're going to think to yourself, well, why are you still doing it? Why aren't you rich right now? Believe it or not, in the past, I've gotten fairly wealthy on a few occasions. It's just that I haven't managed the money very well. And I've learned how to manage my money better now. I believe I have filled in the final pillar, which will take me to financial independence. And I'll be sharing that with you today as well. So let's get started. First and foremost, everybody has to go and work. They have to go do something. They have, I call it the 8 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever you want to call it. It's what you do during the daytime hours. And this applies to you whether you work shift work or not, it doesn't matter. My point here though is twofold. First off, make sure that whatever you do during your daylight hours, you make yourself worth as much as physically possible. You want to make as much as you can while you're working for the man. You want to, if you have a choice of making $50,000 a year or $250,000 a year, choose option B every single time. Now there is what I would call a caveat to this rule, and that is the second part. Make sure you orient what you're doing during the day to fit with what you want to do with the rest of your time and how you want to build your financial portfolio. We'll get into that more later, but that's exactly what I've done. I was working a gig, and it was a good gig, great company and everything else, but it was not really lining up with what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. I have a plan in mind. I've built a whole financial plan on my whiteboard here, and it hinges on the fact that I need to build out a fully interactive site, and I want to do it in Blazor, which is a C# upgrade, so to speak, for the display window. Now, I know Vue, I know lots of other technologies already, but I really specifically wanted to do it in Blazor because this has to follow one of my rules, which is coming up, and it has to be what I call a wind-up business. I'll explain that to you later. The point though is I needed to really learn this technology, and I find that I can take courses, learn a lot from the course, but it never really sinks in for me. I'm one of these people that I gotta get in and I gotta get dirty. I've gotta go, tell me how to dig a ditch. I gotta go dig the ditch, so to speak. I find that when I go dig the ditch, I learn it, and I learn it really well, and now I can take it and use it for other activities. And that's my point here. Whatever you do during the day, orient it, if you can, to fit what you want to do with the rest of your time and how you want to build other financial streams, your wind-up businesses, which I'll be getting into shortly here. Back to the first point though, make it worth as much as physically possible. There's a reason for that, because we want to have that extra money. We just don't want to just have enough money to pay the bills. We just don't want to be the custodian of what we've earned for the month. We want more than what we need. The reason for that is we're going to invest that money into 3 specific areas. First of all, is tools. What tools do I need? What software do I need? Do I need it? I needed when I wanted to do my YouTube business, I needed to buy a new camera. So I had to siphon $2,000 or $3,000 over to a new camera and microphones and all that stuff. So I needed a financial slush into it, and I didn't want to go borrow the money. I wanted to pay for everything cash. So what I did is I made more and I siphoned it into my tools. Second thing is training. I have spent a lot of money over the years in training, and it has benefited me tenfold. Again, it's all orienting towards my wind-up businesses. And don't worry, we'll get into the wind-up business here shortly. but we want to get training. And finally, we want to take whatever's left over and financially invest it into financial investments. Good example is you can invest it into businesses, you can invest it into stocks, you can invest it into real estate, but you want to make sure that whatever you invested into in the long term is a wind-up business. Now, I'm going to get into this whole definition of wind-up businesses. A wind-up business is, think of the Tinker Toys. Remember the toys you used to get, or you don't really see them anymore because everything's run by batteries. But basically, you would wind up the little marching soldier. Wind him up, wind him up. In other words, you've done all the hard work on the front end. You sit him down and he starts to march. Now, what happens is you will monitor out of the corner of your eye what's happening over there. You want to make sure that you keep your eye on that little wind-up soldier. You want to make sure that he is actually creating a profit for you, that wind-up business. But you don't want to dedicate so much time or so much of your personal resources that it becomes a nuisance or it becomes a part-time job, because you only have so many hours. You don't have the time or the luxury to invest too much time into too many things. Again, you only have so many hours in a day and you're going to wear yourself out. How is it some of these world leaders in business make so much money? It's not because they have won the lottery. Heck no. They have lots of little businesses, wind-up businesses. All they have to do is dedicate a little bit of time every once in a while and take a peek at it, make sure everything's okay. And I have at this point in time a few wind-up businesses. One of them is I have a hosting business. I don't make a lot of money from it, but if it's truly wind-up, it doesn't need to make a lot of money, as long as it doesn't eat up a lot of your time. That's my point. What we want to do though is we want to create, in the long run, wind-up businesses. We want to create businesses that we can wind up like the marching soldier, send them on their way, and just monitor them. Now, this can look very different in lots of different ways. For example, let's say you're doing work and you've discovered that you actually are really good at something. You're good at some sort of trade or skill, and you keep resolving the same problem. People come to you and say, Bob, Sally, you really know how to do this thing. Can you help me out? That is an opportunity. A good wind-up soldier or wind-up business for that would be to create a set of videos or a manual or something of the sorts, a course. Create it, you spend the time on the front end, and then you send it marching. Every time somebody comes to you and says, hey, Bob, Sally, can you help me do this? You can say, hey, I have a tutorial on how to do this, and I'll be glad to share a link with you, and if you're interested, you can pick it up. Now, you would think that this wouldn't be very profitable, but can be extremely profitable, because as time goes on, you're going to get more and more eyeballs on that idea or on that wind-up business you've created. And as you develop new wind-up businesses that fit the same paradigm or the same thing that they're trying to do, you can say, hey, Bob, hey, Sally, take a look at this. I've just created this over here. What happens is you continue to build these little wind-up businesses, and this is what's important here. Now, at this point in time, let's just do a quick recap. So we've tried to make our daytime hours worth as much as physically possible. I call it the 8 to 4, 9 to 5. We make sure it orients to what we want to do in the future and how we want to build our wind-up businesses. We're going to take the slush and make investments into tools, training, as well as financial investments, because that is a pillar that's going to be our final pillar in the long run, is our financial portfolio. It's the ultimate wind-up business. You want to get to a point where that financial pillar, that portfolio, is covering all your expenses. Then you're truly financially independent. So that's what we're working towards. And I have one more point, which is, I think, the most important. But before we get into it, let me tell you, have you subscribed? Make sure you do. I have lots of great videos. I'm going to be sharing my journey with you. I'm going to show you how I reach the stratosphere of millions of dollars, because I'm going to. And I like to take you along. So make sure you subscribe. You'll get notifications. I've already talked to a few people who have already subscribed and have gotten to me, and they're really happy because they see my videos in their recommended feed automatically. If you like this video, give it a like. Let's get into the bonus. Okay, so we've done all these things. We've made sure that we've covered all our bases in all these different areas. At this point in time, we should have made ourselves worth as much as physically possible, and that game never ends. You always try to make yourself worth more and more and more. We are working towards building our personal investments with our tools, our training, and financial. So at this point in time, we have a financial portfolio created with Questrade or Wealthsimple or TD Wealth or whatever the package is, and we're investing actively into that. That, like I said, that is our end game right there. Now, what we want to do, and I've already alluded to this, the bonus in my speech already, it's very hard not to. The trick here though is to repeat the process. This is where the money is. And I remember there was about 5 or 6 years ago, I had developed a piece of software and it done very well. And we were doing quite well. I was earning probably about $10,000 to $15,000 a month from it. I wasn't working very hard anymore on it. So what I was doing was I was continuing to become a better developer and create new programs, and we were creating manuals, and we were creating how-tos and videos and courses. So, and what happened was, it was like a snowball effect. I just have no other way to explain it. We jumped from earning $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 a month to earning $50,000 a month, and I'm not kidding you. What happens is, as you add more products in and add more products in and add more products in, and they're products that are good products. One of my best sellers was training courses, like putting together a set of videos. This is why sites like Udemy are so popular. People become millionaires off of the site because they've created 3 or 4 or 5 courses. One course won't do it. It's like starting a YouTube channel and putting up one video. It's not gonna do it. You have to get in there and keep doing it and keep doing it and repeat and rinse and repeat. This is the magic in the formula, is the rinse and repeat. Repeat the process, because it does a few things for you. First of all, it makes you better at what you're doing. There's no lie. I've already been told by many viewers on my YouTube channel here that my videos have gotten a lot better simply because they've gotten a lot tighter, more concise. I ramble less, and that's brilliant. That's exactly what I'm shooting for. I'll be honest with you guys, it's tough to suck all this out of here and present it on a camera and have it make sense and have it be entertaining at the same time. It's a tough thing to do. I have to write notes every single video. If I don't have notes, you can tell. I recently did a video, I didn't have really clear notes, and the video, in my opinion, was trash. I didn't like it. I still put it up because the information was valuable. I had some people come back to me and say, well, I loved it, it was a good video, but personally, I didn't like it. And the numbers reflected that. Like the number of views, how many people were seeing it, was it syndicated by YouTube, etc., etc., etc. Another video I did in the same week, I put it up and I went, that's a good video. I had my notes, I had all the information succinctly planned out for my video. I taped it. I was on fire I was on fire, baby. In the video, it was a good video. I felt it when I was done, and I was done editing it. I watched it and I went, this is good. This is hot information. What I'll do is I'll share the link with you at the end here, because I'm sure people are going, what's the video? What's the video? But I'll share it at the end here. So if you're interested, you can click on it and watch that video now. It garnished over 20 times the views as the video that I didn't like, and they were put out pretty close to the same time. There you go. So what happens is you're gonna get better at what you're doing, and you're gonna put out more and more and more, because that is, like I said, that's the magic. It's the same as your financial portfolio. If you go and you buy a Coke stock and a stock with 3M and a stock with TD Bank and a stock with this, and you have 4 or 5 stocks, you're gonna make pennies, and you're gonna be like, why would I bother? But as time goes on and you've invested $100,000 into stocks, all of a sudden you're making hundreds of dollars a month, because you have lots of little wind-up soldiers working hard for you. And you want that in your financial portfolio as much as you want it in your business portfolio. So I hope you take all these things to heart. This is something that I'm going to continue to talk about in my videos and develop, because really and truthfully, to me, this is the magic. This is how Elon Musk has created so many businesses. Is he started out, he didn't have $1 million in the bank. His pop didn't give him $10 million and say, oh son, you go out there and you stand on my shoulders and you go. He started out with nothing other than a desire to learn and to build and to do. And he's built many wind-up soldiers, and the guy is a multi-stinking billionaire. If he can do it, you can do it, I can do it, and we're gonna do it. So get started. And as I promised, right now you should see in the video a link to the video I was talking about earlier, and you should watch that one. That's a good video. Frank Thomas, if you jump over to that other video, we'll see you there. But if not, have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.